Well, hello, YouTube. I am on my Saturday drive into the big city, if you want to call it that. Wanted to talk a little bit today about data centers and kind of some of the ironic things I've seen online, and some of the things that this is not going to be like a whole huge video on data centers. It's just going to be some of the things that I've seen people talk about on my channel, on other channels, and of course, just out and about. So the big complaint with data centers is that, hey, we have all these, billionaires buying up our farmland, like this stuff right out here, and mowing it all down, and putting these big, ginormous conglomerate, Blade Runner style buildings on the land, and essentially, creating water shortages, pollutants can sometimes be a problem, a lot of energy usage that might not be necessary. There's tons of different things I've heard. Noise pollution, of course, is one of the big things. So, and a lot of people think that this is just because of AI. And I think, AI has, yes, there's a lot of AI going into this, right? But AI is not the only thing, and I wanted to talk more about this. And before you say, oh, well, Ben, you're wrong about that, understand that this is actually what I do for a living. I work in information technology. I am a systems engineer myself. I actually specialize in things just like this. I love servers. I love infrastructure technology. That's the kind of stuff I get into. Am I a massive supporter of destroying our planet at the same time? Absolutely not. I want to make that clear. But and I definitely have my concerns with how these current data centers are being built, and how they're being put together, and who is funding them for what reasons. Absolutely. But I think we need to clear a few things up before we kind of because people often say a bunch of shit online and then they complain because nothing changes. Who's gonna solve these problems for us? And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about specifically today. Is I think there's some things we need to clear the air on. First and foremost, why this massive push for data centers? There isn't this all of a sudden massive push for new data centers. Yes, there have been far more data centers being built, in recent years. And it's not just about AI. See, the political specter right now, or the political specter, I don't know what the fuck I was just saying, has pushed on my channel, or a lot of other channels, has pushed a lot more people to go towards social media to find answers, to talk about what their opinions are, which is good things. Us all online sharing our opinions, sometimes, not so great opinions, all kinds of stuff. But there's been a lot more of that, right? Not to mention, in the working world, if you work for corporations, used to be back in the day, you had a lot of, your businesses, or your big businesses, that is, your corporate businesses, used to have their own small data centers where they'd host their website, their applications, their actual, file storage, data storage, all of that stuff, right? And there's still a lot of that, and that's actually specifically the stuff I work on, actually, too. But there's been also a massive push from Microsoft and other, these giant conglomerate companies to bring stuff to the cloud, right? And since really, honestly, 2012, we've been kind of more and more pushing all of our stuff to go to the cloud. So you now have all these corporations moving all of their data to a company like Microsoft or Google, right? Really, or Amazon, really, one of those three. Those really are your big three. And then on top of that, it's going to be either Microsoft or Google that actually really holds, or Amazon actually, that really holds all of this information, whether it be for corporations, whether it be for YouTube, or social media. I mean, all of these massive corporations, they really go to the big three. I mean, I guess you can say like Facebook, maybe they have their own set of data centers, sure. It's not just the big three building these massive data centers, I get that. But, I mean, you have a lot of need now for everything. It's not just AI. AI is actually really only a piece of the pie. There's this massive massive, massive need now to put everything in the cloud. And we're simply not fucking talking about that. I mean, we have in the past, right? People had their concerns about cloud, they still do, but those conversations have kind of died. We're not really talking about the cloud anymore. We're now talking about AI and the AI data centers. And in my mind, that's a massive distraction from a much bigger problem, right? I'm not saying AI is not a problem. I'm not saying that AI is not a big piece of the problem. I'm saying that there's a massive other slice the pie that we are all contributing to as people, not as machines, and nobody wants to talk about it. And I think the reason why is because that actually means cutting back on usage for these applications, such as YouTube, such as Facebook, such as TikTok, and of course, asking people to cut back on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, or all these different resources is asking the sun not to shine, right? That's kind of like what you're doing. You're not going to make that happen, right? And so nobody talks about this. And I probably will not get a lot of views on this video because it's something that nobody wants to talk about. But honestly, the thing that's pissed me off the most about this are all of these people online, right? You have all of these political channels and they scream bloody murder about artificial intelligence, about all these massive corporations, you know, like YouTube and TikTok and all this shit. They scream bloody murder about all this shit, you know. But here's the funny thing. They also literally make their living off of the same dark fucking money. Like, if you are a political YouTuber or you're a YouTuber of any kind and the majority of your income is YouTube, you are literally directly benefiting from us mowing down farmland and putting up these massive data centers. You are directly benefiting from that. I just need you to understand, when you upload all your content, your 4K fucking 60 FPS content, gigabytes and gigabytes, fucking, and if you add it all up, you know, petabytes of fucking data get uploaded to YouTube every single fucking day, right? And not just YouTube, you could also say the same thing about TikTok, you know, and maybe some other, you know, I'm not sure about other social media platforms, what their numbers really are, but I'm sure tons of data gets uploaded every single day to those two, and most of that data gets kept. Not nearly enough of it actually gets deleted over time. So all these corporations are on the hook to store these massive amounts of data because of us, because we want to watch all these videos. We want to be entertained by YouTube, and then all of these content creators, you know, on YouTube, I'm talking specifically about YouTube, I get it. I'm not saying YouTube itself is the problem, it's my example. All these content creators, a lot of them get paid, or some of them make their entire living. I think a lot of these massive ones make their entire living off of YouTube. And don't get me wrong, listen, I'm the one to talk. I'm trying to do the same thing. I'll be honest with you. Like, I want my channels to grow and to make, I don't know if I want to make all of my money off YouTube because I don't really believe in all my eggs being in one basket. But I will tell you this, is that I do want to make a cut of my income off YouTube. And so if I can make that happen, fantastic. And like I said, I'm not really against, I'm against us mowing down farmland, you know, massive amounts of it to put data centers on. There are places you could put data centers where it's not the end of the world, right? You know, I'm not directly against data centers either. I can't say that I am because obviously I'm contributing to the problem, right? But other YouTubers are not willing to say that, right? Where they just want to make, you know, they'll sit there and scream bloody murder about corporations and about all these fucking people, you know, and don't get me wrong, I'm pissed at corporations too. I am just as upset of corporations, of the Republican Party and all this shit, doing all these horrible things, right? Absolutely. I'm just as upset about all of that. But you cannot sit there and say that and then get upset when people, I've seen some of these people and they're all complaining now because their numbers are dropping because people are just sick and tired of fucking politics and ask me how I know. I try to do a political channel on this channel and I still do politics, but I'm not going to make it my mainstream anymore because my numbers were starting to tank. I didn't want to do that anymore. You know, why kill myself over politics all day for tanking numbers if nobody cares? I don't know, right? Exactly. My point is that all these content creators have started complaining massively, and I'm like, but dude, at the same time, you are saying, oh, it's the algorithm, it's YouTube and all this shit. Maybe we really don't know, but all I'm saying is, turning around and blaming stuff with the YouTube algorithm, blaming AI for all of this shit is a cop-out, okay? Now, yes, YouTube is dirty in a lot of ways. Yes, the AI stuff is dirty in a lot of ways, don't get me wrong. But when you make all of your money on YouTube and you're directly benefiting from these data centers being put up for YouTube to expand its data infrastructure so that you can do your stupid shit channel, let me tell you something, you don't have the right to complain about data centers and about destroying the fucking planet whenever you are contributing directly to the problem. Okay? You don't have the right to complain. And if you want to complain about, because, well, let me put it this way. Saying, because what these people are saying is, they're saying we need to stop data center development, period. Where the fuck do you think your data goes when you upload it? Do you think that it just goes into the actual clouds in the sky and your phone connects to the fucking clouds in the sky and that's where YouTube exists? What the fuck are you saying to me? No. You have to have data centers in order to do the fucking shit you do. Right? Now, there are right ways and wrong ways to implement data centers. And I will be the first to tell you right now, in my humble experience, I am not seeing them put data centers up in the right way. Massive amounts of water usage is a cheap way of fucking cooling computers that we don't need. We don't need to be doing it that way. You could have closed loop systems that are far better for the environment than trying to suck out an entire river to throw on top, like to submerge computers, or, well, not submerge them, but you know what I mean. I'm more making a joke. But my point is it's just frustrating to me how we have tons of people that just don't get it, right? And they're the loudest people online right now, and you have this massive amount of people that are screaming bloody murder about data centers. Data centers are bad. Data centers are bad. AI is bad. All this shit. Okay, fine. The AI is bad. I'm half and half on that one, to be honest. But I'll tell you this. When it comes to data centers specifically, it is not really, AI is like a third of the pie. The other, like the majority of need for these data centers, the majority of the need, is strictly the amount of internet usage we are now doing, right? Think of it this way. Your smartphone in 2012 did not have nearly the high quality cameras, nearly the data throughput that your smartphone today has. So if you're uploading tons of videos on YouTube, using your smartphone even, just like I am doing right now, it's gonna be a much bigger file than what it would have been in 2012. Right. Same goes for all this content. We have a much larger appetite for data and space, like storage space, than we ever have, and people aren't willing to acknowledge that, if they even understand that at all. So, listen, I'm not saying that we have to be supportive of these data centers. I'm not saying we have to be supportive of all these corporations, because we don't. The way they're putting this stuff up is still incorrect. But to sit there and say, we can't have data centers, period, we can't do any of this shit, period, that's not going to solve the problem, okay? It's not going to solve the problem. Honestly, if anything, it doesn't go anywhere. It helps you none, because, you're asking me as a network engineer to give you petabytes of storage with nothing at all. Yeah, that's not going to happen, mate. It's not how that works. I need to literally have, like, just to give you what you need for probably your channel, racks and racks of massive SAN units. Probably just for some of these channels upload like 14, 15, 4K videos a day. Dude, you need a whole small data center just to host your channel. like an office space data center, just for your shit, man. Like, understand, like, what you are actually asking YouTube and all these all these social media platforms to do. Now, again, not that I support them. I'm just saying you also need to understand what your contribution is, and most people aren't willing to talk about that because I think it's obvious. Then their entire message, their entire thing that they're trying, all their shit they're trying to sell you wouldn't make any sense if they all said, "Oh, by the way, I'm also a massive contributor of global warming and climate change and all this shit because I contribute to massive data center development because I need all of this shit to make a living." So, I'm sorry. I that's just my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this because they know damn well that they're contributing to this problem, but they don't want to admit it either. So all the hate in my comments that I get for this is basically what the fuck the evidence right there. Like the evidence to support that, yeah, you guys are unwilling to talk about the fact that you contribute directly to data center development because you contribute directly to usage on YouTube. Whether you're watching or you're uploading, it doesn't matter. Like if you watch a ton of YouTube, you're not uploading directly. You're not using the resources, sure, but still you're the reason why content creators put stuff up. They need viewers. So if you're watching YouTube all day long, congratulations, you are contributing to a massive market that creators want to contribute to. And that's where this messy cycle comes from, right? I think that's probably pretty obvious. Anyway, I don't know though. It's fascinating when people believe what they don't believe sometimes. I don't know. Anyways, guys, that'll be the video for today. I just wanted to talk about that. And yeah, but by the way, at the end here, if you actually happen to make it this far, I've had comments on my videos before where people are worried that I'm not paying enough attention, like driving or something while I'm doing these videos. Yes, I'm paying plenty of attention. I'm looking out the windshield right now. I don't even have to hardly tilt my head to see the camera. I don't really even have to look at the camera, to be honest, to make this video. So I'm fine. Don't worry. Have a good day, guys.